welcome to Nightlife 24/7.
Are you ready to talk about sex?
No, let's talk about relationships.
Or is it time to talk about dating taboos?
It's on your mind
So let's talk about it
on
on
Nightlife
Nightlife
24/7.
24/7. Welcome back to Nightlife 24/7. I'm your boy Mac.
And Sweets Jones and
Hey, on Wednesday we were talking to my good friend Sir Licks, and he gave us a brief introduction to BDSM, the history, terminology, how and why it's necessary to build trust. We talked about a couple of things, and I'm gonna be honest with you. It's Friday now, and I don't know if I really want to get my ass spanked, but it sounds tempting. I'm not lying. I'm not even gonna sit and lie to you. Me being a strong alpha male, who knows? I may find me a sub. Anything is possible in this world. Now, Sweets, I know that this is an area that you have a lot of expertise in.
yes, sir.
So today, even though we don't have my boy Sir Licks with us, and just for our listeners who were looking forward to hearing more from my friend Sir Licks, I promise you, we're going to do a series on BDSM where it's going to get a lot more in depth. So keep listening. We'll have that up soon. Sir Licks has made it clear that he's going to send us his manual and other things so you can have an opportunity to look at those and read those on our website. So let's get a little bit different level on it today, Sweets. Let's talk about BDSM as far as how and what it is and how to get started. How to get started with your partner.
First, for those who don't know, but BDSM are acronyms for bondage, discipline, dominant submission, sadism, masochism. It's a combined acronym for all of the kinky shit. But the best way to get started is online with forums to learn about information, terminologies, and to connect with other individuals, especially if you're just coming from the vanilla life. And there's also meet and greets on a lot of these forums. That way you can get a chance to speak to people in person, ask a lot of those personal questions that you might not be getting good answers from in forums online.
Alrighty then. So I actually went online and downloaded a little something. It says getting things started. It says, so revealing to your partner that you want to explore BDSM might have you a little worried. But don't worry, there's no need to be. There's always a way of approaching things to play to your advantage. Okay? It's really funny. It says, the very first title says, Me First. Me first. If you want to get your man or woman to realize that you're in control in the bedroom, there's no room to mess about. Well, a bit of laughter never hurt anyone, but stick to your guns. Nietzsche says it's all about letting him or her know you're the one in charge. Start by telling him or her he or she's not getting what he or she wants until you do. Then the man, he or she pleasures you with his fingers or tongue, for he or she gets so much to lay a nail on you. Wow. Mm-hmm. They'll be so turned on by your newfound nonsense naughtiness that they'll do anything you want for you. You agree?
I agree to the fifth power and bills getting paid.
For those of you who are just tuning in and hadn't heard our show before, my girl Sweets here, her level of intimacy is a little bit different than most. When things are getting taken care of is when she's more satisfied.
Oh, yeah, you can get anything. When all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted, we're good.
All right. So, now, I I don't. I've only had one experience with this. I was with a young lady who was married, and it was okay with her husband at that time. I will not call their name because he works in D.C. and does defense contracts, but they live here in Atlanta. But I truly remember her tying me up, and I felt so uncomfortable and awkward because it wasn't me. I'm so used to being in control, and for me, it wasn't comfortable at all. I mean, she was doing the teasing and let me smell this and rub up against me on this, but I couldn't do anything until she was ready to. And I'm not going to sit up and lie to you. I literally almost broke their headboard.
Wow.
Just pulling. Because I'm not that guy. I don't know if I know how to be submissive.
Everyone knows how to be submissive. The submissive things comes with the trust. And the fact that you want to please your partner. That's where submissive comes from. Not everybody has a submissive personality, because that can be considered a passive personality. Some people are naive, some people are passive, some people are just weak. But being a sub doesn't mean that you're any of those things. It just means that you're willing to go the extra mile to please your partner.
I don't know, man. I wanted to touch her so bad. And I mean, not even just fuck. I mean, I just wanted to just grab her and touch her. And I literally was almost, like I said, ripping that bedpost. Eventually, she had to untie me because I was that.
But that's where the excitement comes in. That's where the explosion of anxiety comes in. And that is usually what most people are looking for.
I don't know.
Taking away their ability of free will.
Man, I don't know if I could be a sub then. I really don't know.
But you got to think, when you find the right person and she's a dominant, and you know that that's pleasing her because she's taken away your free will, and you know that that is turning her on, that is getting her in the right mood, because after that, then you can switch, because that's foreplay for her.
See, I guess that's the problem for me. To be held back from something that I want so much. I don't know. That's why when we were talking with Sir Licks and you and he were both talking about the sub role and the slave role and giving over power and control, I get that sometimes because I see that. Let's just say I was running a Fortune 500 company. There's a lot of stress to that.
Yes.
There's a lot of stress to that. I can see wanting to give all my power over to someone, let them be in charge, let them handle it, let them take care of, they're the one that's making me feel good. I mean, I don't have to think about nothing. I don't have to do nothing. It's all on them. And just for an hour a day, that would be a hell of a stress reliever.
Absolutely. But that's why some individuals get into it for role play. Some people get into it as a stress reliever because everybody needs me time.
Right.
So just think about this. You have a sub-dom relationship or even a slave-mistress relationship.
Okay.
A couple hours a day. So with that being said, I come to your house. I tell you what to cook. I tell you how to cook it. I tell you what plates to serve it on. I tell you where I want my silverware, whether on the left or the right. Because these are things, it's almost like going on a road trip and having one hell of a passenger. Because she's mapping out all the exits. She's telling you how many more miles to go. So you can just do what you have to do, but she's keeping you in order. Because that cohesiveness is a turn on. Because you don't have to ask any questions. You don't have to wait for answers. You don't have to get an answer that you wasn't expecting, so now it changes your train of thought. Because it's a cohesiveness.
See, but the problem I see with that is and this is just me as being analytical, is finding that partner, that right partner. I'm thinking you're going to have to go through a lot of, if I'm a sub, I'm going to have to go through a lot of DOMs to get the right one. Or if I'm a DOM, I'm going to have for the right sub. You know what I mean?
Well, it depends because when you're in that lifestyle, usually it's not about looks. It's about their actual profile. Because I can provide you with a profile. Once you approach me, then I give you a contract. You look at the contract and you see if it's something that you like. If you want to add things to it or you want to take things away from it, then we agree on modifying that contract. So it's not about finding someone that you like. It's about finding rules that you're willing to abide to.
That's the part I guess I'm working on here. The contract. We'll probably get into that in a minute, but I understand it's trust. It's not about love. I understand it's about the contract and we both abiding by it. My thing is, even though I still think there has to be some type of physical connection. There's no physical...
When you say physical connection, exactly what do you mean?
Men are visual.
You can be tied up and not blindfolded.
Right, but as men, we are attracted by sight first.
Not usually.
Women are emotional and they build from there.
But that's the thing. BDSM isn't about attraction. It's about satisfaction and willingness.
Okay.
Because you can, for years, I didn't have a picture of me on my profile. I had a picture of a man bound, being hit.
Being flogged.
And because I pretty much advertised my service, this is what I do, so that's how I got the responses. And they didn't get a chance to see me until I made sure that they followed directions, until they sent me money, because I need consideration before you waste my time. And it was probably about a good 5 conversations, maybe 6 conversations in before I even sent them a picture of myself.
All right. I remember Sir Licks talking about that consideration.
Yes.
That time when you're developing trust.
Mm-hmm.
There's no set time for that. It could be 1 month, 3 months, 1 year.
It depends on what people are looking for. For example, my consideration is finances. Period.
Okay.
Not to mention the technical definition of consideration is the exchange of money for services.
Okay.
But when an individual approaches me, hit me on my profile, hey mistress, I want to be your sub, I want to be your slave, I want to do exactly what you tell me to do, and I follow directions well. My very first conversation is, I hope you do follow directions well. I would hate to have to punish you, but please do not waste my time. This is my email address. Show me how serious you are. I give them my PayPal address. And I let them know, $100 is going to get you this. $200 is going to get you that. $300 lets me know that you're mentally prepared to spend the time that it takes to mold this companionship of our labels.
Wow.
So I allow my sub or my slave to depict how fast they want to move along, because $100 is only going to get you information and training. So you have people that need to be groomed, and then you have people that want to jump right into it. So it's not even about the whole trust thing when it comes to the consideration, because some people know exactly what they want. Because I could beat your ass, or the chick next door could beat your ass, and you don't know anybody. I've had very first encounters of the guy that says, I really don't want to talk, I don't want to conversate, I just really want to be tied up, I want to be hung up, I want to, be a part of this particular contraption, and we go right at it.
Okay. Sitting here stunned with my mouth wide open. But so that person who says, okay, I'm ready at $300 or whatever, just hypothetically. Yep. So are you building trust with them, or are you it's still consideration? Because how long does consideration last? I mean, is it a long period or?
My particular consideration is, if you're doing information, I usually try to provide 5 interactions of question and answer. And those interactions can be over the phone, most likely, because I'm charging you more if we're in person.
Right.
And then at the $200 mark, now you might want to try out a couple of things. Say you've been a sub already, but you haven't used contraptions, but you've used tools. So now you want to learn hand-on how to use contraptions.
Okay.
Then at the $300 mark, now we're full-fledged into role play. Once I see you, I am no longer Sweets. I am your Empress. That's how it works. So you are immediately in character mode when you're at the $300 mark. Now that next episode, it depends on how that first episode went. If I feel like you still need to be taught, now you got to go back to square one.
Okay, so they're still being, even though they say, okay, I'm going to start off 300, you're evaluating them the whole time.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
And at the end of it, I usually give them a day or 2 days, send them an email or shoot them a text. Hey, how are you? How are you feeling? How is your ass? How is your penis? Or whatever the hell I was, engaged in. I ask a lot of questions because you get people just like a job. You fill out an application, and of course you read the job description, but there's a few things on there that you have no idea what they are. But you want the job anyways.
That's true.
You go to the job, you clock in every day, you clock out every day. After your 90-day probationary period, people sit down and talk to you. This was great, but I think you want to work on this. Is there something over here that I can help you with? So sometime you can be starting all the way back at square one, or sometime you could just be tapering up so the relationship and the encounter goes a little more smooth, so you know what to expect now.
Okay. As a female, would you consider yourself a dom or a top?
I am a dom.
You're a dom. Okay. Now, as a female dom, have you encountered more men or women?
Actually, I've encountered more men, but I've had a couple of female subs. I've had 3 female subs in the last 6 years.
Are they... Okay, I'm going to break it down. Would you consider more men better at being the sub when working with a woman, or a woman being a sub when working with a woman?
A male, because women are emotional, and I don't like to deal with that.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, hey, this is Nightlife 24/7. If you're just tuning in, I'm Mac. My girl Sweets here.
Jonesin'.
And we're talking about BDSM. We're talking about now the periods of consideration, still talking about the different terminologies, how do you develop the trust, how to get started with your partner if you are interested in BDSM. Okay, and we just covered the first thing about me first. So now it says play to their senses.
Yes.
Okay, that entails, I say entitled, but entails, we've all heard the fact that guys are pretty visual people, right? So why not take away his sight and see what happens?
That for me is an automatic. That's the first thing I take away.
Okay. That's just, wow. Yeah, well, I know that when sight is gone, smell picks up, hearing picks up, all these different other things pick up. So I don't know. I guess for him, things would be a little bit more enriched, I guess.
Well, it also depends because you have very timid individuals that don't feel comfortable touching a woman. You have individuals that don't know how to touch a woman because the term dom, a dominatrix or a dominant woman, people always correlate to mad, angry, pain inflicting.
Right.
But when you take away the sight, they can still touch me. But it's in a sensual manner, not a sexual manner. You take away the touch and you allow them to see. But when I'm close enough to you, you can smell my body spray. You can smell my hair shampoo. I might light some candles for an aromatic environment. So
okay,
playing on the senses definitely helps encourage the interactions.
All right. Like I said, when I could not have the sense of touch when being tied up, That drove me nuts.
Well, maybe the tie-up isn't for you.
Right.
Because you can, I've done half and half. I've done the...
What's half and half?
Tying up one arm and the opposite leg.
Oh.
That way, you can touch me when I allow you to touch me when I'm on that side of the bed. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
And if I'm doing something to you that causes you some form of arousal, then you still have that leg motion so you can get yourself comfortable so you can engage in that arousal instead of being forced to neglect your arousal because your body isn't contoured properly for you to enjoy yourself.
Alrighty then. Alrighty. Hey. Like I said, I am truly amazed on the things that Sir Licks has brought up and spoke of. I'm truly amazed at things that my co-host Sweets are talking about. But like I said, this is a whole new arena for me. This is an arena that I've seen from a distance. I've looked through the window and saw something up on the hillside, but wasn't sure exactly what it was. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to put it there. I'm just putting it in perspective.
You window shop, but you just didn't understand the brand.
Right, So I don't want to make it sound like I know everything about everything because I don't. Some days as a man, I'm dumb as hell. Then other days, you got me just at the right time where I can give you all the information you need. But moving on to the next one, it says underwear. This one might have you squirming at first, but it's a dead cert to send him over into overdrive, so bear with us. To start, get him to remove your underwear right before he slides them off down around your ankles. Lightly slap his hands away. Continue taking them off yourself and place them on his face with the crotch along his mouth and nose. The trick with this one is a little preparation. The whole point is that guys lose the smell of you. So working with a clean pair, so to speak, just isn't going to do anything.
Yes. Now that, however, I'm not too into because I don't wear underwear.
Yeah, it says a few hours before you see him, whip on your sexiest underwear, and by the time you've done all these moves on him, they'll be ready to roll. Yep, we know that what you're thinking, but just try it and see for yourself. I can't lie. I've had women take off their panties while I'm laying on the bed with them and we're foreplaying and put them across my face. I've had them, when we're just going at it and she then took it and threw it right on top of my head. And that smell of a woman. I'm telling you, as a man, I love everything about a woman. I love the smell, the taste, the curves. I love it all. To look in her eyes whether we're fucking or making love, pull her hair. So I get this. I get this part. Because if his eyes are covered, his sense of smell has just been heightened.
Absolutely.
That probably would drive most men up the damn wall. The scent of a woman. You remember the movie?
Actually,
you remember the movie?
I have driven men up a wall. Literally.
Hopefully you didn't have to replaster that wall. But
Yeah, but the hotel did charge us.
Oh, see, you up there tearing up some shit that wasn't even yours. You know you was wrong for that, right?
Yeah, but I can't help it. I'm good at what I do.
Okay. Everyone consider this one. And for those of you who don't know what I mean, go check out and rent the movie Scent of a Woman with Al Pacino. Damn good movie. Damn good movie.
And men, take notes.
Seriously.
Take notes.
It ain't that hard. It really isn't that hard. So the next one is called Fantasies. Now that one, this one is about really opening him up to you and will be as much of a turn on for you as it is for him. Get him to confess the last explicit fantasy he had about the pair of you while you slowly masturbate him. Every time he hesitates over a detail, take your hand off his cock and don't continue to masturbate him until he tells you what you want to hear. Wow.
That is a common practice of obedience.
Wow.
It's a common practice of obedience. And for the only individuals that I have issues with in that perspective are the middle-aged white males. Because I don't touch them.
Right.
I have rules, but I don't touch them. However, at that point, I do nipple stimulation.
Okay.
So when you stop talking, or when you take that deep breath, or when you're getting too far into your fantasy that you're no longer keeping the details in line, I'm no longer providing any nipple stimulation. That gets your mind back on track. That gives you fresh thoughts, and it puts the fantasy a little more in depth, because you want me to do something, but you have to do something first.
Man, please. You jacking me off all because I'm telling a story. I'm going to give your ass a story. And it might be...
That's the thing.
You going to get a story.
Like, I do not touch a man's penis while we are engaged in extracurricular activity. That's extra.
I don't even know what to say to that one. I really don't.
I might flog you. I might slap you. I might rub the beads around and all those things. But as far as my hands physically touching your penis, it's not going to happen.
See,
because the anticipation, you're waiting for that to happen. You want that to happen. That's just like in any other vanilla relationship, and you're having foreplay, and you're having sex, and she starts kissing you down your belly button, she gets to your pelvis. Oh my God, she about to put her lips on my dick. Yes, Lord. And it does not happen.
Right, or she veers off and kiss you on your damn thigh now.
Yep.
And you like, what the hell?
It's about control.
Right.
And cooperation.
I'm going to tell you right now, because this is a side note, because you threw that in there, is I might slap you in this. I'm going to tell you point blank. I can take a little playful step, but if you start hurting, I might want to slap your ass back.
But that's why you be tied up. But
yeah.
we talk about those things. Like
right.
I have one individual, one slave. He's not big into pain, but he likes the sting, but he doesn't like pain.
Right.
So I don't use a lot of leathers with him.
Okay.
But I do use suctions and clamps and those kind of things.
I noticed that you and Sir Licks. I noticed that you and Sir Licks use those words very carefully. Tools and contraptions. Y'all were very specific in stating how different they were.
Yes. Now, example tools would be beads, floggers,
feathers.
Now, contraptions are things to bound you. So you can have handcuffs.
See, now I think I did too. Okay.
The straps that go on the top of the door and up underneath the door. So now you're on the door as like a...
Yeah, straddle across it like an X.
Straddle across it.
Yeah.
The door like an X.
Yeah.
Then there are ones that you can...
There's certain benches I've seen where you bent
chairs,
over. Yeah, chairs.
Then there's one like the horse, similar
right.
to the horse that you had like in gymnastics.
Right. I've seen those.
Contraptions. Those are actual units or devices to contour the body in a specific position. Right.
Wow. I see. Like when I went to 1763, BDSM, Sadomasochist Club here, right in Atlanta, right down in Decatur, Georgia. It was, like I said, my mouth was wide open. They had a room for couple plays. They had a room for females who wanted to be with multiple guys. They had, when you first walk in, and right there, there's a big ass cage kennel with a girl's in there. She's in the kennel. You go past that door, and then there's not, what's the other word you use? Not tools, but contraptions. There were all kind of different contraptions where a woman's tied up in the shower. Another one where they got these long boards and they formed the X, and she's got her legs up on one and the arms, and she's spread, and the guy's flogging her, and then he's not hitting her hard, but you can hear the sound, and it's wrapped between her legs and her thighs, or and I'm like, wow, like, and she's getting, and you can hear her as she's taking this building up. You can hear it in her voice. And she's literally getting ready to have an orgasm.
A lot of it is the anticipation. Some of it is the pain. Some of it is the rhythm. It's based a lot on rhythm, because if I'm feathering you, and I'm feathering you in a slow motion, and then I speed up to a faster motion, but I can see the pulsating in your penis, and I slow down.
Right.
Then you're going to slow down too. I speed up. Now you're physically anticipating it with that anxiety that you're almost there. You're almost about to come, just like if you're getting hit. Because a lot of men, you come faster if she's sucking your dick faster or harder, or if it's more wet.
Gotcha.
Versus if it's slower, if it's more sensual, if she's playing with the balls at the same time. It's the same way when we're using tools and contraptions. It's a lot about the rhythm and that anticipation and anxiety of you about to have your orgasm.
Well, see, we just covered the next one on the list. It was called Spank Him. See, you've already covered that one. We didn't even have to go there. So let's move on to the next one here. Control him. A lot of times sex can be controlled by the guy. This is exactly what you want to get away from in this dynamic. Sit him on the chair and secure his hands behind his back with soft handcuffs, not metal, and ride him like he's your dildo and control his orgasm to your suit. Seeing you have the time of your life purely from him will be mind-blowing.
Yep. And then you stop right before he gets ready to ejaculate.
That's just really torture.
That's what it's about.
That's strictly torture.
It's about torture. I mean, whether it's physical torture, contact torture, emotional torture, anxiety, it's still torturous.
Wow, that's just wrong. I'm just putting it out there. That's just wrong. That's just wrong. Because if you're going to ride me to get yours, damn, let me get mine too.
That's not what this
I know. I'm
about.
just saying. I'm still a man.
Because at the same time, if you're a sub or if you're a slave, it's not about you getting yours. It's about you knowing that you pleased me, turned you on.
Oh, wow. I get you. Yeah, I'm putting it out there right now. I know damn well I can't be a sub. I'm just going to put it out there. Nah, I don't think I can be a sub. It ain't going to work for me. Yeah, I'm turned on by just the thoughts of some of the things. But yeah. Yeah, no. Because by the end of the night, we may have started off good, but now I'm pissed.
Well, I mean, that's where the switch comes in.
Yeah.
That's where the switch comes in, because she can be a dom and she can be a top for a bottom at the same time.
Right.
Because you may be the sub at the beginning of your escapade, and after she gets hers, then she turns into a top, and then you're pleased.
Well, I guess so, because as I'm seeing here, it says, the next thing is all about you. Sitting on the edge of the bed or in a chair, have him give you a foot rub while you masturbate yourself. Every time he falters because he's distracted with what you're doing, slide your foot under his balls and very gently kick upwards. Wow. Okay. gently kick him in the balls, she really means it. Okay, just be careful. Getting carried away at this point could ruin their moment. If not a relationship, in quite a significant way, you can ruin the relationship. Say, oh yeah, if you kick me in my balls too hard, we done. And I'm liable to tell you get your ass up and get out.
Oh boy.
I'm just saying. That's just me.
But that's why there's rules. You enter it with rules into these things. Like you have rules.
No, I got you. I got you. There got to be rules. And I think in my contract, it's going to be don't hit my balls with a flogger. Don't kick me in my balls. Don't punch me in my balls. All you can do is play with my balls.
Hey.
I'm just saying. They ain't tennis balls, they ain't golf balls, and damn sure ain't basketballs.
But there's one guy, part of his rules, our rules, is that he doesn't want any anal play. And that's in the rule book. So no matter how excited I get, even though I'm a dom, I'm still going to respect the rules because I want him to respect mine.
Right.
And if I like us being together and the pleasure that he gets and the finances that I incur, I'm not going to break the rules.
Oh, that would be one of my definite rules.
But then there are other individuals. One particular person, his feet are very, very sensitive. I mean, like extremely sensitive.
Well, they say
So
the feet are the most erogenous zone of the body.
But his feet are off limits.
Wow. I wouldn't think that would be because his feet is so sensitive.
Right. But I respect that because his feet is the thing that will create too much anxiety while he's bound. Whereas he can take the anxiety from other parts of his body. Just like you were stating with the whole, the anticipation of getting head. You get
right.
kisses around your pelvis, you get all excited, and all these other things. Now, some people, especially white men are more easily turned on with sensuality than sexual. Because you can kiss a white man on a penis and he's ready to explode already. So, which is, I mean, I've watched that in my previous, I've not done it, but I've watched it in some previous episodes of, some sexcapades. But then you have like the guy with the extra sensitive feet. He knows that once his feet are in contact with feathers or leathers or my hand or the tips of my toes, that he's going to ejaculate really quickly. And he doesn't want to ejaculate really quickly.
Right.
So his feet are off limits.
Right.
Because he wants to enjoy himself.
All right. I got you. Now, going down to the last one. One last piece of advice from Nietzsche before we leave you to your own dominatrix devices. Whether you are dominating, submitting, both, or merely exploring, be confident about your body and desires. It's the ultimate aphrodisiac.
Yes.
Well, I think if you're going to deal, whether you're dominating or submitting, I think you have to be confident. I think you have to be, because that role, each role takes a certain level of confidence and trust, right?
Not necessarily, because you have some slaves and some subs that are not confident at all. That's why they feel comfortable in that role, because they don't have to act like they are confident. They don't have to act brave about the decisions that they're making. They don't have to act like they're sure when they're unsure, because they're being told what to do, they're being told what to think, they're being told how to do and think those things. So it gives them permission to have the lack of confidence, because they can trust that you're not going to have them do anything outside of themselves.
I got your point. I get your point. And it's a good point. I don't know. Like I said, this subject here, there is so many levels and compartments and departments and sections to it. Man, wow. Like I said, even when we were talking to Sir Licks, I would just get confused on terminology.
Well, that's why I try to keep a lot of terminology out, especially when I'm with a new sub or a new slave, because you don't want to overwhelm people, just like a job description. You don't want to go to work and apply for a mail handler, and then you get to work and you realize, okay, I'm doing more things. I'm not doing what I thought I was doing. Now you're a postman.
Right.
And then next week, you're a trainer for the Postmasters program.
Wow.
Because when you go into it as one thing, you want to get comfortable with that first. So I try to keep out a lot of the terminologies. You get the basics, and a lot of individuals that do shift over and transform from the vanilla life to the BDSM lifestyle, they usually come in as a switch until they figure out exactly what they want to be, because it's a lot of experimentation.
Well, answer me this. We're a couple. We've never done it before, and we're considering BDSM, but we want to do it just with us. Okay, so my thing is, should we take a class together? Should we just do research on the internet? What? Because I want to explore this with my husband, my partner, my boyfriend, my wife, my girlfriend.
Usually when it's a vanilla relationship and they're going into it, they usually just stick with the whole S&M kind of thing, because BDSM that flows over into your actual real life, we live together, we do this together, it can get a little complicated.
Okay.
That's where the role play comes in at.
Okay.
So you can do research, I can do research, we can do research together. And then when I get home, there's keywords, or if I know that you have on a certain piece of clothing, I tell myself, time to get into character.
Okay.
Know? So I can be your little slut and your little nasty bitch in the bed tonight, but tomorrow, don't pull that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? But,
I got you. Because I've had women like that.
Right.
I've had women like that.
In the whole term of what is it? A lady in the streets and a freaky
we're gonna be lady in the
It's like take that times 10.
Okay.
But as far as learning, you do want to learn together, but most people are comfortable doing their own side research, because there are questions that you might not be comfortable talking to me about in a relationship, because a lot of people act like they know more than they really do.
So one more thing before we get ready to close out. Give me a couple of those sites that you spoke about before. Something Color Me, Clingy, something. I remember you was calling out 2 or 3 sites.
Kinky.com is a good one. Fling.com is a good one also, for random hookups for individuals that already know what they want to do.
Yeah.
But then when you go into the BDSM realm, you go on to FetLife.com or BDSMU.com. There's lots of forums, lots of information. They have chat rooms where you could just ask questions. You can take a look at pictures of different contraptions and learn a lot about the terminologies of the tools, contraptions, and the labels that are part of the BDSM realm.
Hey, well, you know what, Sweets, that's a lot of information. But go ahead and give them our information so they can keep up with us, and then we'll close this out and put some things up on the website for them.
Nightlife247.com. Check out our podcast on Wednesdays and Fridays, and make sure you check out our handles, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
All right. We appreciate you guys kicking it with us. This is Mac and Sweets, and we're definitely out for the night.
We at Nightlife 24/7 appreciate you, our listeners, who has an open mind and heart and are able to listen, learn, and discuss those issues that affect you and your partner.
By discussing these issues, we hope to keep the lines of communication open to help inform you, our listeners, and our community. It's on your mind, so let's talk about it on Nightlife 24/7.